Hey there, I'm professional psychic Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up Sundays for June 12th, 2022. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending your valuable time with me. Really appreciate those of you who have recently subscribed to my channel. Greatly appreciate it. It's growing in little bits every week. It's a kind of exciting little growth. Reminds me of a campfire that you struggle to get going and then it does start going and then it just gets more and more beautiful. So that's kind of how I see my page. So this week, as usual, I'm going to talk about the transits for the week and go into details about that. But the biggest highlight is a full supermoon coming up. And so I've got details about that and other things this week. I'm going to go into a sort of a crystal and stones 101. Just I'm going to talk about 3 different stones and crystals and dive deeper into it, just for those of you who might want to just get started with stones and crystals or don't know anything, or those of you who've been doing it for decades and maybe just need to hear something you already know again. It could be that. And then I'm going to do mini readings for all 12 signs. I'm going to do a 3-card draw today. So I'm going to draw a card that represents recent past or lessons you've been learning or what you've been being taught recently. Today, what's going on right now? What do you need to know right now, this moment? Most important thing for you to see. And then a 3rd card about the upcoming week, just with the timer of this coming week and what's transpiring, what you need to know for the upcoming week. So I'm going to do that 3-card reading for all 12 signs at the end. I'll put timestamps below for those. And for those of you who don't know me, I have been a professional psychic in Austin, Texas since 1988. That's 34 years of professional psychic readings. I'm a channel, which information just comes through me. So I use astrology and tarot, and both of will be interrupted with information from my guides or stuff that just comes through me. I'm a medium as well, which means I hear from people's loved ones that have crossed. They'll interrupt readings to come through. I'm an empath, which means I can feel in other people's bodies what's going on. So I can, so I'm doing readings. I'm picking up on all these different levels of things from the chart, from the transits, from the cards, what's coming through. I get past life flashbacks for people in readings. So I'll get a flash of that either just channeled while I'm doing a tarot reading, or it'll pop out of an astrology chart and I'll see it or get information. So my readings, private readings, are a combo deal. And that's just regular. All that comes in a reading session. You get whatever comes up. That's what you get. So my past life regressions are different, and there's been a lot of clients wanting those lately. So I thought I'd talk about them since they seem to be kind of hot right now. So a past life reading is when I'm doing a reading for you, either looking at your chart or cards or just channeling, and I get information about you from a past life. Say, okay, I see you in Egypt and blah, blah, blah. That may or may not resonate to you. And it may very well resonate. You may have also gotten flashes or deja vu from different places that I may pick up in a reading for you. A past life regression, however, is when I guide you back. And so I can do that over the phone. I used to do that in person when I have an office space or go to clients' homes. COVID has made that more weird. But past life regressions are actually best done over the phone. So you're not getting any visual stimulation going on. You can just have earbuds or headphones where you could hear my voice, and I guide you through and guide you into you being able to tap into the past lives yourself. So I'm coaching you through breath work. It's not hypnosis. You're not being knocked out. You're being guided by my guides, and everybody's different. So I get downloads about what words to say, because some people step into a past life with visuals, right? They see things going on. Some people step in and they're like hearing sounds. Some people step in and they're feeling their physical body and what's going on physically for them. People can step through and smell something first, right? Like everybody has psychic abilities that show up differently. So the first thing is to kind of get to know you and how your abilities are manifesting. If you have a basic interest in psychic things and things extraterrestrial and things just sort of outside the box, and that doesn't scare you, if you're exploring in that way and have an open mind, you're going to be easy to regress. In my years of doing past life regressions, I've been able to regress every single one of my clients. There was a client one time who could only go into one lifetime. and it was laborious to even begin to get pictures, and that was years ago, and it was definitely someone who had a closed mind. I was really actually surprised he was getting a past life regression, because he wasn't really open to the idea of it. So when you're not open to it, it can really create obstacles. For me personally, I was regressed by someone before I ever started doing professional readings, and it opened up a portal for me personally, that ever since then I've been able to access past life information for myself, for others. For me, it'll usually bubble up like a childhood memory well. Like, say all of a sudden you have a vision of yourself on the slide at age 5 and you hadn't thought about that in decades, right? That's how past life memories can bubble up for me. Like, I'll get something that's new. It's a bubbled up memory of a past life. It just flashes of it for myself or others. That opened up when I did my first regression, when I was regressed by another facilitator. So, and over the years, I just took, actually her basic template, worked with my guides to adapt it and shift that, and have been successfully regressing clients for, like I said, probably 32 years of my 34-year experience. I was doing past life regression. So lots of experience that. They're super fun. I've never had a client feel traumatized by doing a past life regression as well. The way you're going into it and approaching it is from a very observational, spiritual place. And it's really whatever lifetimes you're most supposed to see right now. And that's the other thing too. They've never gone back in clean chronological order. They bounce around all kinds. And not only do you bounce around in past lives on this planet, people will go to other dimensions. They'll go to concurrent lifetimes. They'll go to other planets. They'll shoot to the future. They'll go in between lifetimes. All those things are very common. So it's really past life regressions and more. I mean, past lives and more, the places that people are going to in regressions these days. And the youngsters, those of you who are on this path, early age, the 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, y'all can go like 7 or 8 lifetimes in one regression. That kind of floors me. Folks my age, that maybe the first time you've done it, or maybe you've done it once other time, it's more like 3 to 6 lifetimes in one session, 6 being really a lot. Like, most people can do 3 or 4, and then they start getting kind of psychically fatigued, but not emotionally fatigued. And we always set the intention of whatever you're supposed to know right now in your life, like whatever lifetimes are most important, whatever people in your lifetime is most important to see a connection with. Once people have gone through an initial past life regression and have learned how to navigate in that way, then we can get more specific and fine tuned and dive into past lives with a connection with the soul that is my mother in this lifetime and how that's incarnated, or the soul that's my boyfriend in this lifetime and how that's shown up, right? You can guide it. I've regressed twins together. I've regressed best friends. I've regressed, lots of partners. Also a group of teenagers when I was doing a homeschool co-op back in the day. Shout out to the Friday co-op participants, a group full of very evolved teenagers in our homeschooling community. Was super fun, but regressed a group that was cool. All right, so that's my diatribe on past life regressions. More information about that is on my website, so feel free to click on my website link and look up specifically past life regressions. Also, rebirthing sessions is coach breath work to help clear out stuff where you don't have to go through talk therapy. You just dive into breath and release. That's very powerful. Psychic development instructions. I want to get a shout out to my psychic development clients that are my students that are working with me to develop your abilities. It is such an honor and pleasure to be working with you as you step into your power and step into really listening to what your own higher self is guiding you to do, and watching that just show up in beautiful ways in your lives. And so I have trained a number of beginning psychics, and everybody can utilize their psychic ability. You don't have to become a psychic where you're doing readings for the public like I do, but I can guarantee you developing your psychic abilities will enhance whatever it is you're doing for your work and for your life and for your relationships. Okay, that's my diatribe on my work. All right now, as I'm recording this on a Sunday early evening, the sun's at 21 degrees and 57 minutes of Gemini. So sun in the 3rd decan of Gemini this week, working through the Gemini theme. So in this 3rd decan is about the future. It's about you know, the third decan in any sign is really like what kind of causes we're setting for our future. And so Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which rules the mind. So Gemini themes have a lot to do with what are we thinking about? How are we thinking about ourselves? How are we thinking about our lives, the world around us, the people in our lives? You know, that's a lot. You know, the first decan was really about what do we think about ourselves, and second decan was more about what do we think about the people in our lives. This third decan is like, what do I want for my future? What, as thoughts can create reality, right? Beliefs, I believe it's beliefs and feelings and thoughts together with a vision creates reality, but thoughts are in there. They're important. What you're thinking and clear thinking and knowing what you want in your life. So there's Mercury is the king of this, your brain, your head, and it rules two different signs. It rules Gemini and it rules Virgo. So anybody who is a Virgo or a Gemini, or who has Virgo or Gemini rising or moons, or even Mercury's or Venus's, are going to understand the energy of Gemini and the twins and the duplicity and the confusion and the choices and the creativity and the brain that doesn't stop and the chatter that won't stop and the brain that just can't quit. You know, that's the Gemini mind. So we all can be experiencing sort of that Gemini energy right now with the sun in this last decan, but it also can get us inspired thoughts about how we can be literally thinking, like what thoughts we're being able to shine a light, I guess, on our thoughts. And the other reason that that's going on is because Mercury has been really going through it. It's now direct again, right? It went into its shadow in the last part of April. It went retrograde May 10th. Then it went all the way back to where it turned around last week, and now it's been moving forward. It went back to 26 degrees, I think, of Taurus. So now it's trucking on through. So it's had its third and final trine with Pluto. So Mercury against this planet of communication. Everybody pretty much hears about Mercury retrograde, right? So when Mercury, which rules our head, our thoughts, our communication, it also rules technology, communications of all kinds, in-person dialogue, phone calls, emails, snail mails, texts, social media posts of all kinds, all that's Mercury, right? And so when it goes retrograde, then there can be glitches. You didn't get the text, they didn't get the email, or people misunderstand each other, and all these forms of communication can happen. Mercury goes retrograde. It can be intensive. Our thoughts, we can be rethinking things we thought were, oh, well, I believe this. And then we could, during retrograde, can go, wait a minute, hold up. It was particularly gnarly because it started off in Gemini. Its home sign. Mercury was in its home sign of Gemini before it started going retrograde. So it kind of gathered up steam in this first decan of Gemini, which is, again, what we think about ourselves. So this is, Mercury has taken us on a journey of like, what do we think about ourselves? Like, am I thinking correctly? Am I thinking positively? Where are my thoughts? Where are my communications with others? How is that going on, right? It's gone back across Pluto, which it crossed on the way over, because Pluto is in a trine to Taurus. So Mercury backs into Taurus, an earth sign. Pluto is trining it. That's a positive connection over in Capricorn. So right now, Pluto is at 28 degrees retrograde, which means this transformational planet of power and control is about like, ooh, transforming our inner world, transforming how we deal with power and control of our lives. Are we giving power over to someone, or how do we take our power back? How do we set boundaries to the world to be empowered, right? That's part of the Pluto journey. And with Mercury making 3 different passes, trines at it, trines are a harmonious connection, realizations, the mind and transformation, Mercury and Pluto, realizations, transformational conversations, like, oh, wait, I'm not going to think that. Wow, I've been thinking that. It's been creating that. Like, realizations around this could have come up during this time of, you know, first pass over Pluto, second pass over Pluto as it was retrograde, third pass. It just had its third pass over Pluto the last couple of days. So again, we're still feeling this, like Mercury's had a tango with Pluto 3 different times. So Mercury is supercharged for transformation now, right? Mercury will go into its home sign tomorrow on Monday, on the 13th of June. back into Gemini, right? So it carries all this, like, it's almost like where you wind up an old car, and then you have to pull it back and then you let it go. I feel like that's kind of what Mercury's done. And we're about to just jettison forward in our communications with others, in social media things. It could even be people getting into new vehicles, because Mercury is our transportation, making trip plans for trips. That's travel, is also Mercury. Having transformation go on with your siblings or your neighbor, because that's a Mercury thing. Writing, being inspired to be writing, these are all things that could be triggered during this Mercury retrograde period for people. Like when it went into a shadow, like you writers out there who haven't been doing your writing yet, you've probably been hit with a bazillion different thoughts around it, or dreams around it, or things that pop up in your environment that kind of signal to you about writing, right? Because Mercury going retrograde over what you should be thinking, in the sign of Gemini, the sign of communication and writing. Anyway, so it goes back into Gemini on Monday. It'll take till next Sunday, the 19th, till it gets out of its shadow. So one more week if it's getting out of its shadow, which means wrapping up the lessons of this whole transit, right? And the opportunity to, I think, to transform your thinking because of this connection with Pluto. And not only that, Mercury has done a square with Saturn. This is a contentious relationship. So our thoughts, our communication, how we think about things, how we communicate with others, in a square. Saturn comes in with the governing, the authority. It's the mom, the dad, it's the boss, it's the no. It's like, you'll do it this way. It's the music teacher with the ruler on your knuckles. It's like, the sharp boundaries, hard no, here's where we stop things. No, no, no. So there can be this coming together in conversations of things that are abhorrent, like, no, I'm not gonna have these conversations anymore, or even saying, I'm not gonna have these thoughts anymore, I'm not gonna look at things this way. It can be internal, it can come up in relationships, but I just feel like this has been kind of the theme going on. I've seen it with clients' readings, and I'm just feeling it astrologically. It just seems to be, I notice a lot that, I'll take all my clients that come in for a week, or come in via Zoom usually, or over the phone, and there's usually similar themes I see showing up in everybody's chart. Like, for example, everyone has been exhausted, doesn't have the energy, feels like, oh, feel like the elephant sitting on their chest, that they've been having trouble moving forward. I really see that. This is this Saturn squaring Mercury. It's squared Saturn 3 different times. It did transformation with Pluto, and it squared Saturn 3 different times during the back and forth. Because Saturn's sitting over there right now. It's at 25 degrees of Aquarius. So it's doing an intensive dance with Saturn, right? But Saturn also is and Saturn has gone retrograde now too. So it, again, is turning the tables internally. And where do you need to set boundaries with yourself? Where do you need to set boundaries around your thinking? Or where is your brain going during the day? Like, boundaries around how much time are you going to give yourself to be on social media? How much time are you give yourself, like, structuring, kind of restructuring your thoughts and where you're putting your creative energy? I feel like is another theme that's been sort of a backdrop of what's been going on. So one of the cool things, when Mercury goes into Gemini tomorrow, there'll be 4 planets in their home signs, 3 of the personal planets. So Mars is in its home sign of Aries. Mars is the god of war, the ruler of Aries. So it brings in all the Aries qualities, positive, and gives extra charge to it, vitality and passion and initiation and inspiration. The bonfire that an Aries can be is enhanced when Mars, its ruling planet, is in its home sign. Not only that, but Jupiter is in Aries as well. So Mars and Jupiter have already done it, dance with each other. Mars is activated by Jupiter. Jupiter brings gifts. It brings wonderful things. It enhances things, makes things bigger. So one thing with Jupiter, Mars getting together, it could enhance the war factor, right? When some of these shootings are happening, this is a dance between Mars and Jupiter. Jupiter's making the war factor bigger, because there's also the downside of Aries is volatility and erupting anger and, fiery and out of nowhere kind of stuff, impulsivity. These are all the downsides of Aries. Every sign has positives and negatives. Every planet has positive and negatives, just like our energetic. We're like the Tao sign. We have this beautiful light being, Buddha nature, Christ self within, and we all have fundamental darkness, our shadow side, this stuff that wants to pull us away from personal growth, right? So we have the part of ourselves that wants us to grow spiritually, personally, creatively, in love and heart and all that. And the part of ourselves that's like, oh, let's just die. Let's not do anything. So we have to learn how to balance that, because like night and day, the night's not going to go away. Our dark nights will not leave us. They can be the deepest growth periods that when we kind of go within and go introspective. And so on that note, the South Node has been in Scorpio. So the North and South nodes are points in the sky. They're not actual planets. They travel, most planets move from 0 degrees in a sign to 29 degrees, the last degree of any sign, the 0 degrees of the next sign. The nodes move backwards. They move from 29 degrees to 0. So they're moving backwards. Right now they're at 20 degrees. The North node is in Taurus, the South node's in Scorpio. So the eclipses that we just had were in Scorpio and Taurus. That's because eclipses always happened around where the nodes are. So the lessons, when we get a new nodal theme, which in January is when the nodes change signs into Taurus, where our North node is, Scorpio, where the South node is. North node in Taurus is about what we're learning collectively. It's like collectively on the planet, we're all in class. North node is the teacher. What are we learning? Taurus themes. Taurus is about valuing ourselves. It's the second house in astrology. It's our physical body, how we move our physical body, how we feed our physical body, how we deal with our values, our money. It's about valuing ourselves. It's about finding value in life. It's about our valuables and all that second house stuff and Taurus stuff. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So it's also a lot about love and money. This is energy themes that have been up with the North node. Like, and are you valuing yourself? Is the work that you're doing valuable? Do you feel valued by the people in your life? These are all been themes since January, right? The eclipses come along on this axis and really charge up and bring in people that are teaching us the highest end of these teachings, and can bring us test of the lower end of these teachings too, right? Because Taurus negatives can be stubbornness, shut down, inability to change, a fixed sign. Both Scorpio and Taurus are fixed energies. So if you know any Tauruses and Scorpios, it's hard to get them to budge. Like once they decide on something, like they don't move usually. Like those are fixed signs. It's not only Taurus and Scorpio, Leo and Aquarius are also fixed signs. These are the signs that don't like change. They want to know what the plan is. They're doing best with that. And so this axis has been stirred up with these eclipses and these portals happening in the fixed signs that don't like change. All right, it's too bad. We're changing how we value ourselves. We're letting go. South node, Scorpio, our deep secrets, the things psychologically that we need to transform. That's Scorpio. Scorpio's ruled by Pluto, which is death and transformation. It's the underworld. So it's like the deep, dark secrets being cleared out. Past life is always South node. Scorpio is about past lives too, and Pluto. So this is like a triplified dose of past life stuff coming up. So like karmic patterns that you've done, not just this lifetime. A karmic pattern, you know them from this lifetime, where you get in a loop and you do the same thing. Like you date the same person over and over and over again, even though they're in a different body. Like the same karmic issues. You get with the same kind of boss relationship. You have the same, what you know, when you repeat your karmic patterns, whatever it is, with your habits and behaviors with yourself. So the places where we have those karmic hooks, almost every time have a hook into past life energy as to why we're hooked in that particular way. And some of the things in the chart that can point to where we're being hooked is Chiron and Black Lilith, because these are representing in our birth charts where we've been hooked, you know, so we can look at that and go, oh, okay, well, definitely fears in this way, you know, your wounding that needs to be healed is coming up that. So Chiron right now is at 15 degrees of Aries. So this is the wounded healer. This is how we're healing ourselves. It's deep sea diving, digging up the stuff. Like it's where we have an ouch, but then we need to see it so we can heal the wound, right? If you don't know it's in there, you can't heal it. Like I know it's classic for my clients to have had sexual abuse experiences in their childhood, had no memory of it whatsoever till I get into their 40s or 50s or 60s. And all of a sudden, like get this feeling, maybe not even memory. Sometimes it's in it like that infant to 3-year-old where you don't have much memories, but just a sense that something happened and you were violated, that kind of thing. I've had it so often with friends and clients that shows up like decades afterwards. They had no memory of it, right? So this is the time where that kind of stuff can bubble up because of the South Node and the eclipses on, conjunct the South Node in Scorpio. And we're going to have 2 more this fall. We'll have another eclipse because they come in pairs. Lunar and a solar always come in pairs. So we had them in Taurus and Scorpio. We'll have them again in Scorpio and Taurus. So it's like, we're not through being taught these things. So this is the backdrop of like what we're in school. It's like we signed up for this class. we're on this planet this time learning how to value ourselves, North Node, how to clear out the old karmic baggage and the old karmic patterns, South Node. So that's like kind of what I see as like overall Cliff Notes version of like what we're all kind of generally doing right now. So I said all the planets were in their personal signs. So I talked about Mars, and Mars being made even more exaggerated because Jupiter's right there, making it bigger, bringing it. So this is super powerful. It's also the masculine principle of the universe, Mars is. We have the divine feminine, Venus, in Taurus, in her home sign. This is about love, our relationships, our money, in its home sign of Taurus. She feels on her throne there. Mars feels on his throne. Divine feminine, divine masculine, and their throne. Then we have Gemini in its home sign. Mars in its home sign of Gemini. So Mars is not Mars, Mercury. A little bit of Mercury retrograde still hanging out here. The fact is I caught it before I, recorded it and then didn't hear myself saying it. So, so Mercury going back into Gemini, then it's moving into its home sign. So then we have the planet that represents our thoughts and communication in its own home sign. So it's like, we can get some traction. Our heart and our motivation and our thoughts all can be really lined up together. And not only that, but wait, there's more. Neptune, the psychic spiritual radar planet, is in its home sign of Pisces. It's at 25 degrees. So it's at one of these later degrees, which is stirring up psychic and spiritual downloads again for what we're going into the future. And the 25 makes to a 7, which is such a psychic spiritual number. So the planet that represents Pisces in its home sign of Pisces. So we have the mind, Mercury, the heart, Venus, the actions, Mars, and our spiritual and psychic connection, Neptune, all in home signs. To me, this is a beautiful, rare harmonic to be able to really have your life be sort of humming and like music and being able to move forward in a harmonious way. So if you're listening to your own intuition, which I feel like everyone's psychic, everyone has their own direct hookups. And when you listen to your own inner voice, it's like turning on your own private Alexa, your own private GPS service that's guiding you on the best path for you. You listen to your inner voice and you let that guide you rather than logical, rational mind, what you think you should do, what you're told to do, what you need to do. All that busy stuff comes from the mind. So when we've got planets activated that are the buzzy mind, Mercury going retrograde, the sun in Gemini, which has been going on. A lot of people have been going like fritzing out on the brain front, like just fried. We got Saturn that's been squaring Mercury, which just makes us like feel like, oh, I can't, I'm stuck. I can't think. I can't, communicate in the way I want to if you can't feel motivated. That energy's been going on. Mercury has also been in a sextile with Neptune. So there is a positive psychic spiritual potential there and download with the sextile between Mercury and Neptune. So there's can be mental confusion, mental stuckness. At the same time, there's places where you're having transformational thoughts, realizations, downloads. So really, it boils back to, what are you doing in your daily life? Are you doing the work to plug in and listen to your higher self? Are you quieting the mind? Are you doing that through prayer, meditation, chanting, breath work, soaking in the tub, running in the woods, staring into a fire, or gardening, like whatever it does that takes you out of your ego body and taps you into your higher self body? Doing that as often as you can every day is vital for our planet right now and for the transformation that needs to happen. We all affect each other, right? Our energy going out of our bodies, our word. Just think about like how sound travels, right? You've seen that experiment in school when you're little or whatever. You ring the bell and the sound waves go out infinitely, right? So our speech out into the world is infinitely powerful, right? Our actions in the world are powerful. If we're aligned within ourselves, our words, our actions, and everything are just resonating with this beautiful gong out into the universe, affecting everyone around you in a positive way. If you're in your higher self, that's what you're generating. That's what the people around you getting a blast of. If, however, you're caught in the undertow of your fundamental darkness and you are caught up in your addictive self or your negative self or your depressed self or the part that can't get motivated to get out of your pajamas, that just can't see, like that you're stuck in a rut, right? Then you're and generating fears and worries and anxieties and stuck in stinking thinking and all that, that energy, you are sending that wave out to the world around you. And most often that's probably happening because you've soaked in that crappy energy from somewhere else and you've internalized it, didn't realize it. So then you've like, empaths do that. We're sponges. We just soak up what's going on around us. So it's so important to wring yourself out. And you can wring yourself out through stones, crystals, spiritual practices. So I'm going to go into the stones and crystals here after I get through with the transit. So let me get back here to my notes. What else have I said? I've talked about Mercury and Mars. Now Venus is going to have a very interesting conjunction. So she conjuncted Uranus Saturday, just yesterday. So this is, you know, the mythology is that Venus came out of, you know, Uranus's scrotum that had been cut off by Saturn and cast into the sea, and it formed Venus. So she kind of came out full-blown woman. She's going to be conjunct the North Node. So again, the feminine, divine feminine, and it's like when you get a substitute teacher, and the teacher that's substituting is the goddess Venus. I'm going to teach everybody about Venusian lessons, right? And so she's just had a run-in with Uranus, who's the great awakener, but it's also kind of her dad energy, right? So father-daughter shit could have come up in the last couple of days, just saying. Like that was a hit that I got when I was looking at my notes here. But it's Venus being activated in a positive way. Like Uranus is the great awakener. It's the upper octave of Mercury. It's like higher level communication, telepathy, psychically picking up on other people, connection with extraterrestrials or things outside of this 3D realm. That's what Uranus controls. That's the realm that Uranus controls. And Mercury controls all the 3D levels of the communication, right? Uranus is the other octave of Mercury. So Venus with a collab with Uranus can get this jolt of like, okay, I'm awake now, activated in things of love and beauty, right? So she's going along now. She's going to conjunct the North Node. We're all supposed to be learning lessons. So it's like, how do you say yes to the divine feminine? How do you feel like you deserve to be loved and nurtured, like everyone deserves to have divine feminine energy pouring in on you, which is love and nurturing and comfort and security and care. And like, that's the energy of the divine feminine. It's not coming from a particular person. It's a universal energy, just like the divine masculine is the protective. I'm going to make things happen. I'm going to get things going on. I'm going to stir up, you know, strength and formation. Like this is the two energies that are activated right now. It's just a really cool week to get downloads with everything aligned in 3 planets, 3 personal planets, and Neptune in home signs. Like this is just about really being able to have the seas part and the clouds part, and you're like, okay, now I can see. So I really can sense a lot of people having psychic realizations this week and downloads and like rethinking, like, and you may have been batting something back and forth for the last several weeks. I mean, the sun has been now in Gemini for 3 weeks. So that's going back and forth between the 2 different heads, the twins, like the sun has been doing that. And so we've why the sun's been doing that. We've got the Mercury retrograde activated, having relationships with all these outer planets. It's like, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. It's like bowing to the three black belts, Mercury connecting with Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto. So Mercury is supercharged as it goes back into its home sign. So I just feel like this could be a great week for a lot of writing, creative projects, great communications, great conversations, writing in your journal. Like, to me, write, communicate, because it should be on. You should really be able to get downloads. Dreams, I think, should be really vivid this week and beautiful. Okay, so Venus conjuncts the North Node. I have that in my notes, like from Tuesday to the Thursday energy. Again, you start feeling things beforehand. They're exact. You can feel them afterwards. So there's like in the middle of the week, this lesson of like how to value ourselves, how to receive love would be Venus and the North Node connect. And not only that, Pallas Athena is in the conference call. And Pallas Athena is an asteroid who she came out of the head of Jupiter. So both Venus and Pallas Athena are these goddess archetypes that weren't birthed from women. They sort of came out of the energy of male, but stood up. So it can represent like women standing up for themselves. Pallas Athena can. She can be like, she was like the strategist on the battlefield. She could like have the strategic plan. So Pallas Athena comes in guarded, ready for battle. She's got the strategy. She's like the general, the planner, right? She's also a weaver. So Pallas can represent weaving, like literal crafts, weaving or sewing, doing things by hand. So it's interesting that that could be activated as well. It's like there's a spider creative energy going on with Venus and Pallas and the North Node all coming together. Venus can also just represent women in your life. And so, and I've noticed that in several different cases recently, because Venus was highlighted in the eclipse because of like, watch my old videos, you'll know. Venus has just been activated a lot as well, being charged by the eclipse. She was the ruler of the eclipse in Taurus, and she was conjunct Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. It was just a big whoosh, zap psychically. So we've been being activated about listening to our intuition, about following our heart. Like Venus has like been screaming, does it make your heart feel good? Do you love it? Do you love them? Do you love yourself first and foremost? And so I see this Venus conjunct Pallas and conjunct the North Node. It can be like this divine feminine standing up for yourself. Like, I'm whole and complete right here. I have the divine masculine and the divine feminine here within me. So I think it could be a lot of women just standing up for truth and justice and fairness and what feels right. It'll be interesting to see what might happen on the women's rights front this week with these two goddesses coming together, Venus and Pallas. We'll also have the moon squaring Neptune on Tuesday. So Neptune, it can make things fuzzy. It can dissolve things. It can take things away. It can also, if you're just having your mind in the backseat anyway, it can be great spiritual psychic revelation. So those are like the two ends of it, like from spiritual aha, great awakenings, zap, to like, I don't know, I can't see, I don't know. That's the Neptune addiction, illusion, delusion. That's the Neptune. So the moon squaring Neptune can bring out the tendency to want to be addictive and like F it, you know. We just went through that this week with the moon going through Scorpio, can also dredge up that. So if you've been feeling like over the weekend, just kind of like, oh, I drank too much, or I did too much of that, or I spent too much money, or whatever, it's kind of the moon going through Scorpio, going over the South Node, kind of stirring up some of those. These are the things we're letting go of, just showing you, illuminate as the moon moves through Scorpio. Now it's moving through Sag for the next couple of days, and it will culminate in a super full moon on Tuesday. I have that being exact at 7:41 a.m. Austin, Texas time, Tuesday morning. So it's called a super full moon because it's closer to the earth. So it will appear super in size. We can feel full moons even when they're far away. With the ones that are closer, we feel. Full moons bring out the lunatic in people. It brings our emotional state to a heightened place. It brings up and out stuff. In Sagittarius, it'll be at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. So if you have any planets or points close to this, the galactic center is 27 degrees. So this full moon is conjunct the galactic center. So the moon will hit the full and then go right over the galactic center on Tuesday. So there could be something super powerful that happens. Sagittarius rules the ninth house in astrology, which is the house of higher learning, like education. It can be judges, anybody who has the initials, who've gotten the master's, the doctors, the PhD, they're an attorney, they're a doctor, they're a lawyer, they're a judge, they're a guru, they're a they're a pastor, a preacher. These are all ninth house, like higher learnings, world religion, all the world religions is ninth house, right? It's foreign travel. It's connecting with people from other parts of the planet. So a full moon in Sag can bring into your life new people, new foreigners, new ideas about traveling internationally, desires to learn new things spiritually from new places, new directions, and being open to not necessarily just religions, it's world religions, it's spirituality and all the ways you can discover it as the ninth house. Is anything you want to learn. You can go to classic learning through school to learn things, but you can study things yourself, autodidactic, and that's ninth house activity and energy. Someone who is a teacher is a ninth house person, right? So this full moon is in this Sag energy. So these are some things that can get activated. Like you could get a hit about wanting to go back to school. You can get a hit about, I've got to meditate every day, or, I want to go to whatever foreign place on the planet. I want to travel, or all of a sudden you meet someone from another place on the planet. So, that's going on Tuesday. So we'll be feeling the lead up to the full moon over these next couple of days. We feel the full moon coming, especially a super one. It's intensive. Be careful. I mean, sometimes I just say it's really kind of better maybe to duck and cover and use this full moon time to do a personal ceremony about what you're letting go of, what you're releasing in your life. Full moons are things coming to fruition, culmination, like whatever, when you planted the seeds in the new moon, the full moon is when you reap the harvest. So if you were setting intentions during the solar eclipses, the lunar eclipses, to have something new come in, you might find that it comes in this week around this full moon. So it can bring in, Sag is a fire sign. It wants to enjoy everyone. It can really make you want to be social. So it might be hard to stay home on Tuesday. You maybe feel compelled to connect with other people. And I'm just going to go on record and saying, people give Scorpio a bad rap for like lovers and not being monogamous, which like I see that a lot with Scorpios. The sign I see it the most is with Sagittarius. The most that I see that really truly are not monogamous. And if you rock that ethically and say, hey, I am openly open in my relationships, and you're upfront about that, and everyone in your life is upfront about it, I've seen it through clients' lives. That can be a beautiful scenario. Everyone has to be in the light with it though, because that can go south really quickly. So I see all kinds of very interesting things in my readings for sure. Another powerful thing around the Tuesday full moon, we've got moon squaring Neptune right after it. So it's intensive, and it can be like, you can be kind of fuzzy on Tuesday. So again, be careful if you're going to get out and drive. Not only that, Mars is conjunct Chiron. So Mars, the god of war, our energy, how we put energy, take action into things, is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. So we may get some insights into how we take action, or where we don't take action really creates a negative wound for ourselves, particularly when it comes to our relationship with others, and how we feel, Aries, that other people, second decan of Aries, feel about us. Like how we think other people feel about us, right? What do we think? Is it true or not? I don't know, but what do we appear? Like a lot of people's negative self-esteem is just generating this talk that people don't like me, like, or whatever, or a reaction to that. Everybody loves me, which is an overcompensation for the fact that you don't feel like anyone does. So these issues could come up to a head to be healed this week with the full moon. And so that's super powerful. There's a nice, powerful energy going Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm not going to lie, like, poof. And then into Thursday, the sun is going to be squaring Neptune. So this could be confusion, fears coming up, fuzzy thinking, that not really knowing, wait, what? So we can feel like a full moon hangover for a couple of days, because the sun squaring Neptune may also make us go like, what? Needing extra sleep or not being able to sleep can often happen when Neptune is in the conversation. Neptune really jacks with sleep is what I've noticed. And when Neptune's activated. So the sun's squaring Neptune on Thursday. The sun is trining Saturn because Neptune and Saturn are semi-sextile right now. So they're in a conversation with each other. How you form things, how you structure your inner world, how you get your internal download. Like these can be working together to form an agreement. Your higher self downloads, regular meditation, regular hiking, regular writing in your journal, this would be great for your regular groove, Saturn structure, Neptune's downloading it, right? This can be a way where it can come together like that. You start getting details about how you can form your life in a good way that just comes through intuitively. Moon's in Capricorn Wednesday and Thursday, making it able for you to work hard and put these insights that you're getting into action in some way. Like, let's go ahead. Let's let this full moon be the release of this pattern, this behavior, this whatever. You can definitely use the energy of the full moon to let go of a karmic pattern consciously. That's a great time to offer anything up in prayer that you're having difficulty shifting by yourself. Universe, help me shift this, take it away from me. Let's see, I'm looking at my notes here. Jupiter's conjunct my sun right now for the next few days. So that's kind of a nice kiss. I've really been having really lovely times. Feels like I am getting gifts from the universe coming in all kinds of ways. So that's lovely. Jupiter gift bringer on my sun. Anybody else with 5 degrees of Aries placement can also feel Jupiter directly. Okay, North Node Taurus. Again, creating value in yourself and your valuables. That's what we're learning a lot about. Venus, who we love, what we love, how we receive energies. Are we doing that in a rhythm? Mars, how we take action, put energy into things. Is that aligned? Gemini, our mind. Is our thinking on track? Are we supporting ourselves with beautiful, positive thoughts? Neptune, our intuition. Like, are we plugged in and guided to spirit? Are we letting things flow in our life? Like, to me, this can be what the week can bring you, this beautiful alignment. If you're tapping into these planets, like all harmoniously in their home signs, it's like the beginning of a board game when everybody's in their home points. It's a whole new, and in that way, it does feel like, okay, game on. There's something that's about to begin. It feels like with all these lined up in their home signs, it's kind of like click, 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 like doing a vault lock or something. Something's about to unlock. That's what it feels like to me. It's like, big doors opening. What's behind that? I don't know, but the vault's opening this week is kind of how I see it psychically. Here we go. The vault is opening. Let's see what's in your vault. What have you worked up karmically? Like, to me, this is in a karmic bank. This vault, the image I'm getting is like a karmic bank account. Karma is your causes, positive and negative. Like, because our karma can be positive and negative from past lives. Karmic patterns can be positive patterns as well as negative patterns, right? Negative karma gets a lot of rap, but really karma is like your bank account. Is it in the red or is it in the black? So the more positive causes you put out to the universe, regardless of how they came back in the immediate, they will be stored in a fortune vault for you, right? So there's certain things that come along and unlock your fortune. I think Jupiter on my sun is like an unlocking of a personal vault for me. But I think the way these planets are lined up this week is also like an opening of a vault for everyone who wants to capitalize on getting in rhythm in every way of your life, your thoughts, your heart, your actions, your spiritual connection. Like, that to me is super exciting, super peaceful in the middle of such transformational times. Like, we're going through intensive times, and Saturn's still hanging out there retrograde going, and Pluto's still retrograde. So we're still like kind of drilling down deep inside. Which is good. Like, to me, that's making more people grounded, more people awake. We had more people wake up because the Jupiter Neptune conjunction in Pisces earlier this year. So we've had a lot of people wake up. The eclipses are waking people up, having new people come into your life. It's a very exciting time. Okay, I talked about the nodes. I did a shout out to my psychic development and my past life regression clients, or if I haven't, here's a shout out to you guys and being willing to do the deeper level of work that I offer. It takes a courageous soul to dig deeper. So congratulations, and it's a pleasure working with you. Okay, so we had Venus, Uranus, and we'll have Venus and the North Node connecting this week. In July, the very end of July, like maybe the last day, it's really more like the first week in August, we'll have Mars and Uranus and the North Node connecting. So that's going to be like, who knows what's happening that like July, other planets. I just remember July and August when I looked at it, looked like, whoa, okay, revolutionary times again is what it feels like upcoming. So like we're already in June, like it flies by so quickly. So yeah, I think I've talked about all the rest of these notes. Let me make sure. So the moon goes into Aquarius by next weekend. Venus is squaring Saturn on next Saturday. So this can be like a come to Jesus and where you're setting up boundaries with yourself, with someone you love. Like Saturn again is where you apply the pressure when you say no, where it's also where if you apply the work, like if you're working hard during these times when Saturn's retrograde and you're having to do a lot of inner work, and if you show up and do your work in whatever way, shape, form, or fashion, you're guided to do that. When Saturn comes back direct, it will bring gifts. Like it's like the harsh teacher in school that's only going to give you an A if you really deserve it and you've worked really hard for it, right? But Saturn will reward you if you put in a lot of effort. So there's that in the backdrop. I really feel like that we're storing up good karma for future rewards, and we get some rewards this week is what it feels like. Like benefits are opening up, sweet little treats, kind of like when the kids get a recess at school. I feel like us adults are getting a recess. Okay, now I want to go into a little talk about stones and crystals, just as a basic one-on-one. If you don't want to watch this part, you can go to the reading part, just skip right over this. But one of the reference books that I've had for years and years is this book. Can you read it? Love is in the Earth, a kaleidoscope of crystals, updated. This is an old version. There's other versions that are out. This one is like, I've been using it for years and years, big time, lots of things. And so I've marked with little butterflies the 3 different stones I really want to talk about. So one, I wanted to talk about this. I was in Marigold's Gateway to India shopping yesterday, and this necklace jumped out at me. It's made with lapis, right? And it's a beautiful design, but it was the stone itself. And I'll find that wherever I am, if I'm around stones and crystals, like it'll dawn to me. And I just feel like this one in particular, this piece of kyanite, when I found it, I just wanted to hold it. And I didn't want to put it back down again. So I just walked around the whole store holding it. Like other things I'll pick up and put right back down again. So that's a sign if you're trying to pick out stones and crystals, like a stone that you need is just going to feel good in your hands. It's going to feel soothing. It feels like, yeah. And conversely, if it's something that you don't want, it can be a powerful healing stone, and your pulse in your hand can start to like throb. Sometimes it means it's activating really powerful healing, like black obsidian can do that, and so can malachite, can really strike up that kind. So anyway, so I want to talk about kyanite, but first I want to talk about the lapis, just because I was drawn to it. So I then immediately, do I remember what lapis qualities are? No. I mean, certain stones I do know the basics of, rose quartz, really great for your heart chakra. Amethyst, really great for psychic development, spiritual connection. Quartz, good for clearing. I know basics, but in lapis, I always know that you look at what chakra color, like if you know the chakra colors, you can know what a stone is going to help. It's going to be activating the chakras next, representing its color and the ones next to it. All right. So this is lapis, which is an indigo blue, which is actually your third eye chakra. It's your chakra that's right up here. So it's activating your third eye chakra in a positive way, but then it's also here closest to the throat chakra. So it's activating the throat chakra. That's just what I got intuitively. Like, this is something I'm feeling like it's helping psychic stuff. It's like it's helping me maybe speak up for myself, or, be great on video for my Psyched Up Sundays. So here's what I said, what it opened up to. Lapis provides for activation and energizing of the throat and brow chakras. Just like I said, the crystalline structure further clears these chakras and provides for unification of all the chakra for the purpose of maintaining the perfection within the person. Lapis lazuli is a stone of total awareness, helping to expand awareness and intellectual capacity and allowing for conscious attunement to the intuitive and psychic aspects of one's nature. So, psychic attunement on a psychic gets powerful, right? It helps for diminishment of the internal smoldering fire, which leads to dis-ease. It stimulates the communicative facets of the self, providing for clarity, responsiveness during releases of information. It assists one in the attunement of the creative source, stimulating the expansion and the realization of consciousness toward the awakening of the perfection of the self. This is some deep stuff, like, and it goes on and on and on. I won't agree, you know, I won't read all of this stuff. Third eye, insight into dreams, it goes deeper and deeper into all. It's a protective stone, there's all these other things that it can do, right? So let me just show you how. So this is the beginning of the lapis page down here, and then it's all of this, and then all of this. So dives in deep. So I'm not going to read all of that to you, but just, so I buy a stone, I come home and I look, what did I buy? Oh, well, of course I would buy that intuitively, right? And it just feels good and is bringing that beautiful energy. Okay, so kyanite. I recommend everyone get kyanite. It is spelled Kyanite. There, I'm holding the book. Hopefully you see that the right way. Kyanite, kyanite. Okay, here's how it looks. This is one of the forms. It looks like blue butterfinger. This has some garnet in it here. These places it's got some garnet in it. So this is kyanite. This is clear quartz in here, right here. But the blue stone is kyanite, right? Now here's a different chunk. This is an extra spicy version of it, which has another mineral that I forget what it is right now. And this came from a different part, but this is like one of the most powerful forms of kyanite. And then here's a piece of kyanite that's been polished. One of the pieces I keep in my box of tarot cards, and because it keeps everything clear. I have kyanite earrings on right now. I sleep with a chunk of kyanite. These chunks are usually readily here nearby. All right, so I'm going to read about kyanite. It's one of the 2 minerals in the mineral kingdom which never needs clearing. It will not accumulate or retain negative energy or vibrations. The energy of kyanite is unlimited in application, making it one of the very best attunement stones. You don't have to know what it's doing for it to work. You can hold them and it can do positive things without you having to be aware of what it is it's doing, and you can trust it. Kyanite aligns all chakras automatically and immediately with no conscious direction. If directed with the consciousness of the user, it can also open the chakras. Conscious direction of the energy can also align the emotional, intellectual, physical, spiritual, ethereal, and astral bodies. It brings tranquility and a calming effect to the whole being, with particular focus on the throat chakra and the third eye. It stimulates communication and psychic awareness on all levels. It dispels anger and frustration and helps to facilitate clarity with respect to mental awareness and linear reasoning. It induces ones to persevere in activities and in situations which would generally reduce one's strength. It provides a stimulating energy and supports one in the continuation of projects. It further advances the conscious connection between the higher levels of intuition and heartfelt love, producing compassion in both communication and decision-making. It also assists in dispelling confusion arising from emotional, spiritual, and intellectual issues. And it goes on to like more things that you can meditate on and stuff with the kyanite. But so I recommend everyone get kyanite. When I'm doing house clearings, which is another professional thing I do, I take little shards of the kyanite and put them on window sills, around underneath windows and corners, and around like I find little places I can put it to put the energy all throughout the walls, quite literally, of a home, which helps keep the energy clear. So kyanite. And the other thing is clear quartz. This big old chunk here is clear quartz. These are clear quartz. These are all from crystals I mined myself in Arkansas, this big chunk, these chunks, I have a whole lot of them. And so clear quartz helps you clear. I'm not going to bore you guys with reading some more, but you know, there's a whole nother section here where it talks about what quartz does for you. But and the Cliff Notes version is a clearing energy, and it helps clear and connect. And you know, so but you can dive into any stone or crystal you would like by getting this book. They have copies of this book at Nature's Treasures, and then accompanying books by the same author. And Nature's Treasures is the place in Austin, Texas, I recommend going for your stones and crystals. The Rock Depot is a side. This is to Nature's Treasures. It's all connected, same umbrella. But if you walked into the front door of Nature's Treasures, you're going to get like a lot of this tumbled stones and beautiful things and pendulums and crystal singing bowls and all kinds of stuff. If you go to the building that's to the side, to the left as you're looking at the front building, and go in that entrance, the rock quarry is behind the buildings, between these two buildings. And that's where you can buy the elements there in chunks. Like, you know, I bought this big chunk of rose quartz there, you know, different stones, this big chunk of chrysocolla. This is a nice grounding stone. So that's where I recommend, if you're in Austin, Texas, to go to get your stones and crystals. You can get kyanite in other places. Again, they make kyanite jewelry. So get your kyanite on, help keep your energy clear. Like I use it to clear jewelry. Like before I put this on, I put this on my kyanite stone to clear any energy. Like it felt like it had really beautiful energy, but just in case it was carrying something from somewhere. This came from India, by the way. It went through many hands before it got from there to me. And shout out to, again, Marigold Gateway to India. It's a wonderful Indian import store on South Lamar in Austin, Texas, where you can get your clothing from India, your jewelry, cushions, tapestries, your saris, your henna ink for your own tattoo, temporary tattoo making, all kinds of really wonderful stuff. And Lada, the owner, is a single woman, small business owner. So I'm going to just shout out to Marigold's, and I'll put the link to her website and location below this video. So just if you're looking for a cool place to buy some colorful, beautiful, comfortable clothes, that's my favorite place to go for that. Okay, now I'm going to go into mini readings for all 12 signs. And this again is sun sign, moon sign, rising, or a stellium, which is 3 or more planets in a sign. So feel free to look up all the videos that relate to you and all your different aspects in your chart. And then also your any friends or loved ones. Again, we all have all 12 signs in our chart. So if you know about your chart and you know which house is ruled by each sign, you can really listen to some information for a full-blown reading. If you like, for example, if you know, oh well, Taurus rules my 3rd house, even though I don't have planets there, that's my house of communication, blah, 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 blah. So if she says what she says about the Taurus, that's going to show up in my communication world, for example, if you know about astrology. If you don't know and you'd like to learn more, we can always dive into your chart together in a private session. Okay, so we're going to start with the Aries. We're going to start with recent past information that's important for you to know right now in time. What's going on now? What do you need to know, see, here? And what for this upcoming week, timeline of just a week away, is happening? Do we need to know? Do we need to see? Is around the bend. Okay, we're going to do that for the Aries. Sun, moon, risings, and stelliums in Aries. Okay. Start with the recent past card. Past is the traveling card. All right, and I'm going to go for the now card for the Aries. Right now, or in Celtic Tarot, it's called the bridge that's crossing. The bridge you're crossing right now. That's the adventure card. And one more for this week into the future for Aries. Knowing that the future is not set in concrete, it's just based on the trajectory of right now. So if you don't like what's coming up in this future reading, you can vow to change it and shift it and alter the outcome of what's supposedly coming. There's nothing said in concrete about the future. So it's all, we're creating the future by what we do today. So let's see what, right, as of right now, it looks like the future is bringing you this week, near future. We've got the burden card. Okay. Recent past is the traveling card. So this could be literal. You may have been traveling. This could be figurative, that you've been on a journey, just like personal journey. And there's been like ups and downs, and you're like, it feels like you're still on the journey. Like here you are, you still got mountains to climb is what it feels like. It's like, okay, I'm trying to do my work, but oh, this is taking longer than I wanted it to. And like, it feels like you're having to feel like you had to be patient, and Aries aren't great with patience unless it's really, I mean, I'm a triple Aries. So initially I was not good with patience. I've had 6 children, however, so life has taught me great patient lessons. So it's like this Aries has learned about patience. So this is something, it feels like, yeah, learning about patience. This could be personal for me. For you too, it's like, okay, being patient with yourself in your process, wherever you are in your process is okay. Like we're not comparing ourselves to anyone else. This is about your journey. Where are you at? What's your next right step? That's all you have to figure out. This day and age, people do too much comparing themselves to the people around them. Cut that out. Just compare yourself to where you were today, or last week, or last year, or last decade, or last lifetime. That's the only comparisons that are appropriate. How can I be better today than I was yesterday? How can I move my life forward in the ways that I really long to right now? So the traveling card, and it could be someone had come to visit you from a journey, that someone traveled to see you, or you have been making plans to travel. Maybe you haven't even traveled yet. You've just been making the plans recently. That's what I get in the recent past. Okay, so for right now, I get the adventure card. This is about stepping into the rainbow. This is about really trusting about how you feel prompted on a daily basis. What today do I feel guided to do? And taking action based on that. Like having it light up, follow where you want to go. Like what feels like, oh, I want to do this. I love this. This is wonderful energy. This feels great. Like that's the energy of your higher self calling you into something. Whereas your mind will say, you need to, you should, don't you think you, then like if it's coming from that buzzy parent kind of energy, that's not your higher self. So the higher self is the inner voice, the inner child is like linked. This to me is like stepping into a dream you've had since childhood. And like, are you going to bring it out? Are you going to bring that creative project that's so close to the bone you're afraid to go for? That's where you're on the vortex right now doing, like, dive into your creativity. What is that thing you've wanted to do since you were a child and still haven't pulled it off completely? To me, that's what this card is saying to me right now. For those of you Aries that are watching this, and it's time to go for it. And you don't have to know the whole big picture. You just need to know today. So you want to like play on the stage at, Carnegie or whatever, like, well, are you practicing today? Are you right? Like, what is the daily right now grounded into now can you do? Can you visualize? Can you be willing to reach out and like collaborate with someone else? Are you open to expanding your horizons in whatever your creative way is? Because this to me is like this little child is your little inner creative artist that's getting permission to move into some art, whatever your art may be, right? The burden card is this week. So this is like taking on extra weight. It could literally mean that you're feeling heavier, like you burdened yourself, you put too much in your mouth, you drank too much, so you're feeling more heavy and burdened. You may literally be taking on the weight of someone else. You're taking care of an older aging parent or sick relative, or your own children or grandchildren. There's someone else that you're having to take care of. That could be some of you this week. I get a lot of feeling that there's some Aries that have been ignoring their bodies. And so your body may like break down and say, look, dude, you can't keep going with not enough sleep. You can't keep going where you're not, eating enough vegetables or iron or whatever you need. Like this is, to me, is a depletion energy too. So like, how can you fortify yourself so that you're not depleted this week, Aries? Like, how can you drink lots of water and eat lots of fresh produce and eat lean proteins and like just eat clean this week so you feel better energetically. Like your food is a fundamental way of how you can feel better. So I would recommend like really clean up your diet if you want to feel better and you don't want to feel this heavy toxic feeling. We'll clean it up, and you know the ways to clean it up. Like this is nothing new. Do you need to say no where you're saying yes? Yes, I'll help you. And then you're like, why did I say I would do that? Like, do you need to get out of a responsibility? You know, that may be have to do, you may have to just suffer through and carry the elephant on your back into next week. And then maybe it's going to lighten up there. It's different for everyone. There's also light, there's healing. There's something that's going through with this whole thing, whether it's you're healing your physical weight and or emotional weight, or it's the weight of someone that you're having to take care of and it's not your stuff. Like it feels like not fair, this feels like no fair, you know. Mars in our home sign, it may be triggering up old places where you felt like that's not fair. With Chiron in the mid-decan, like that's not fair. Like someone should view me and think negatively or whatever. Like where are we burdening ourselves too with what we worry about what other people might think or what our stinking thinking is? Like, can we clear out some of the burden that we're creating in our minds, in our belief system that's hanging, our emotional body, when it's like feeling like crap, that's hanging on us. So what can we do to clear out our mental body, our emotional body, right? This is where yoga, breathwork, meditation, chanting, doing something creative, being in a beautiful chi can clear your energies out this week. So I feel like going back to this, like dive into creative projects this week, Aries. Start that next thing. Start that thing that you've been afraid to go for. Just take baby steps. You know, spend 5 minutes writing. Spend 5 minutes practicing an instrument. Spend 5 minutes writing down a plan. Like just start small, but get started. Let go of procrastination. Give up your procrastination with this full moon this week, is what I would say for the Aries. Ready? And we'll go on to the Tauruses. All right, so we'll start with the first card, which is recent past, what Tauruses have been downloaded, experienced, realize, need to know, need to see, recent past. Okay, I draw the turning in card. I'll talk more about that. Now I'm going to pull a card for right now, the be here now card. What's going down right now? The sharing card is going down for the right now. And then what is ahead on tap this week for the Tauruses? What do you need to know for this upcoming week? Given that nothing is set in concrete, that the future is based on what we're doing today, but as of today, this is what the trajectory for the week looks like for the Tauruses. Flowering cards. These are pretty. Lots of goddess energy here. Okay, so recent past is the turning in card. This is one of my psychic cards. So this is telling me that you've been tapping into your own psychic abilities, noticing when someone's on your psychic radar, you think of them and they text you, or you're dreaming about someone and then they call you, or you're having deja vu, or you're having past life flashbacks, or you're having like, you know, information coming in that is just sort of weird. Like this is psychic activation is what it feels like for the Tauruses. Like really feeling like, woo, this is cool. Like noticing it enough. I mean, as many times where you're like, I'm noticing. I want this to keep growing and developing. It feels like you have already been working on developing your abilities, tapping in, tuning in, not being like tuning into your dreams and what they may be, like going into a meditation, or feel like you're channeling in a creative project. You're writing a song, you're doing art or something. It feels like it's being channeled, like it's coming through you from your guides, from a higher source, rather than from you, that you don't feel that it's just you alone, your own abilities heightened or enhanced, that there's like, woo, okay, I'm aware of a bigger universe out there. That feels like that's recent past. So right now is the sharing card. This is the mother nurturing the children. It's the person feeding everybody. She's got food and light. She's bringing insight. She's bringing nourishment. This is like you bringing your divine feminine nurturing out to help people right now. Like, I'm going to be my best self, the divine feminine, even if you're a male, that you're bringing out this beautiful, caring, nurturing quality, helping people see the light. That the candle on this card really makes me feel like you're bringing insight to other people. Like, as you shift and change things, people are watching you, even without you saying things. Like, she's just smiling here. She's not really talking. I feel like people watching your actions are noticing, like, just like there's a quiet storm brewing of like positive public appeal kind of thing is what it feels like. You're being noticed is what it feels like, even though you're just enjoying what you're doing. This card, the flowering card, this is like, it's time to bloom. It's showtime. It's you know, this is like serving others. This is very divine feminine mother energy. This is like the young female energy. I'm going to shine. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to be my best self. I'm going to do my thing and rock my world. Again, even if you're a male, this is your divine nurtured self. Feeling, when you feel fully nurtured and feel fully cared for, then what can you do? You can really shine regardless of who you are. So this is like feeling that divine love penetrate with all these three goddess cards kind of coming in. The psychic goddess, the mother goddess, the sister goddess, basically, you know, the best girlfriend goddess. This is like someone who will just, well, of course it's happening. This feeling of divine right timing, I'm also getting with the flowering card, like that things just feel like they're clicking, they're at the right time, like things are finally moving. It just feels like a great relief for this life, and a beautiful week of gifts. Gifts could be coming in too with this sharing card. You could have received a gift today or recently, or be receiving it this week. The flowering card, her hands are open too. She's open to receive. So just be open to receive what might come in this week. Like, bring in the flowers, get flowers for yourself that would symbolize, you know, beautiful love energy from the universe coming to you. Or get out there and garden, or pick some wildflowers. It feels like the beautiful flower energy can be literal, and like, you know, put some flowers out around cut flowers out around your home, or buy a new flowering plant, put that out. It just feels like the flowering energy is symbolic of your life this week. Okay, that's what I see for the Tauruses. Go on to the Geminis and start with recent past for the Geminis. Recent past for the Geminis. We got the receptivity card. All right, right now, the be here now. You need to know now card for the Geminis. Postponement card. And then we have this upcoming week for the Geminis. What's on tap? What can you expect? Incoming energy, insights, people. The compromise card. All right. All right, we'll start with the recent past, this receptivity card, which is an openness for receiving psychic information, receiving spiritual downloads. Just like Gemini, you've done your part to try to get out of your head and try to be open to, if you're watching this, you're open to receiving and connecting more with your inner higher self, receiving psychic downloads. Maybe you're getting dreams. Maybe I get someone has always had dreams that came true from a little child, like knew you were psychic. This also feels like someone with a highly developed brain, very creative, very smart, intellectual as well. So someone's watching you that feels very artistic, creative, intellectual, like and have like had psychic vision since childhood, but feels like they're coming up more and more loudly now. Like, feels like you maybe went through a period that was kind of dormant. You weren't feeling connected, but now it feels like you've been in a flow. You're receiving divine inspiration, you're acting on it, you're letting it move through you. You're not getting away the process. You see when your brain gets in the way, and when you can step aside, it feels like you've learned the lesson of how to like get the mind out and then receive. The postponement card is the bridge that's crossing right now in time. It can literally mean you're on hold. You're having to wait for something. It's not the right time for something yet. Like, okay, the project's not finished yet. It's like the woman who's pregnant. Like, she's got to wait till it's time for that baby to come. She's, even though she may be tired of being pregnant, we don't really want the baby to come early. We want it to come at the divine right time. So just, I always like to put divine right timing spin and affirmation on anything that I feel like is stuck in my life, or like, okay, this is all happening in divine right timing. It really helps the psychological piece. This card also shows up for people who are depressed, however. See, the person's all gray, even though there's a colorful world they could be staring into, they're feeling all gray and out of, no color in their life. So this card will show up for people that are creative folks, usually, who are blocking their creativity. They don't have the chi flowing through them. They don't have the spiritual flow going through them. They don't have a physical flow going through them. Something is blocked on one of those levels. It's a physical level block. You're not moving your body enough, or you're not eating enough positive green foods and water, right? On an emotional level, you've got an emotion that's stuck and blocked and that you can't process, that maybe you're chewing on, you're gargling it, gargling in a negative feeling. Let it go, turn it over, see it in a balloon going off to outer space, or see it in a fire being burned up, or who literally do those kind of things to symbolic. You can definitely use the symbology of the full moon this week to let go of whatever's holding you back. What's blocking your creative chi? What's blocking your heart when it comes to finding love? Like, what's in the way that's causing you to have to wait for whatever it is that you want? Getting just a little chi flowing can really just, it's about chi, right? So chi can happen just to get a creative thing going. Adult coloring book, diamond paintings, these are things, doing a puzzle, things that can just get chi unblocked because you're getting kind of mindless. Sometimes that's a better activity than vegging off into social media for hours and hours. Like, to stop and just do a puzzle and listen to Mozart or something would be like, I don't know, throwing that out there. Near future is the compromise card. So definitely this is a heads up. Watch out for people that are showing up that are a compromise, or even when you're in situations when you're compromising with yourself. Like, this doesn't mean that it's going to be someone else. It's going to be you. But the compromise card is like, watch out for the level where you feel like you're compromising. I deserve better than this. Fill in the blank. This isn't working for me. I'm not feeling loved. I'm not feeling supported. I'm not feeling encouraged. Like, wherever you're settling and getting less than what you deserve, or if someone comes in that triggers that, or speaks in that old language of what you used to tolerate and you no longer are tolerating, old story, out. Like, that you may didn't need to be do this. Recognize that, this is one of these old stories. I'm not going to engage with this new person I just met. I can feel the old karmic vibe. Nice to meet you, next, right? So just watch out for people, places, and things, yourself included, where you may be compromising this week, because there's some lessons in recognizing it and saying no to it. And then it feels like something opens up if you don't compromise, is what it feels like. There's light, this beautiful light behind this compromise energy. So this is like, if you don't step into the bodyguard block here of the compromise, there's all this something super special on the other side of it. So you get rewarded from the universe when you don't lower your integrity. All right, that's the message for the Geminis. I'll go and do the Cancers. All right, we'll start with recent past for the Cancers. What's been happening recently? What did you already see? No. What did you miss? Got the Dream card as the recent past. Let's see where the be here now, the bridge that's crossing. What's up right now for the Cancers? The nothingness card. Okay. And then this week, what's on tap for the Cancers this week? What do we need to know? Upcoming. Moment to moment. Okay, so the Dream card representing the recent past. So this card will often show up with someone who's trying to map out a dream for their life, whether it's a relationship that they really want, a career they want, and, they're launching their own business, like whatever it is, having children, whatever it is that's the dream for you, and you haven't gotten it yet. So it can be that, just thinking about what you still want to manifest. It can most often, however, it shows up as people that are in relationships with someone and they can sense the potential, but that potential is a fantasy. It's not the reality. They're sitting here by themselves alone. So I see this a whole lot in women, in particular relationships, women healers who get into relationships with men who should really be clients, who should really pay them for their time, rescuing them, healing them, making them feel better, sending them off as better people. Meanwhile, they feel depleted. So whenever there's that fantasy going on in a relationship of, oh, but I can sense his potential, like I could see where he's going. It's like, no, but where is he? Like right now, today, where is she right now, today? So it's a bit of being an illusion, being in a delusion. It also could be dreaming about wanting a relationship. There's also that where it's literally a dream, and that can be a positive spin on this card. So it's definitely good to be dreaming for what you do want in your life and to have a vision. That part's important. So if you're doing that, then bravo, you're doing the great work. If you're caught up in a relationship where you're making excuses for the person and you're seeing their highest potential in your vision, psychic vision, but not what you're experiencing in your life, this could be an old story where you've seen that and that was the reason you got out of a relationship. I mean, this is showing up in the past. So it could be where, you stepped out of that and now you're alone. And you may be thinking back to that. Well, was it so horrible? Maybe it wasn't. Oh no, it was really not good. Like, we can fantasize about stuff and make the past that was traumatic even more beautiful than it really was. And we can traumatize the present, and we can put a lot of fear into our future by being afraid it's not going to happen. So the no thingness card is the right now. This is the blank clean slate. This is the new beginning. This is the blank canvas. This is like it's time to paint something brand new. New whole chapter of your life, new whole second book. I don't know. Like it feels like new, not much from the past is being dragged into the future is what it looks like. It's like, I'm going to clean out, get rid of everything and just start with new stuff. On a symbolic or literal level, like there's an energetic clearing. If you Cancers are clearing out clutter right now, would not be surprised. Putting endings to relationships that have no longer served you, wouldn't be surprised. Creating lots of having also time ideas for creative projects. That's what this feels like to me, like wanting to make a run on Hobby Lobby or Michael's and just like stock up on all kinds of creative supplies of all sorts. About to write that music, about to like design that dance, like whatever it is, like it feels like creativity is about to be on. And then this week is the moment to moment card. This is that, what right now do I feel guided to do? Like this is that you can take the adventure of a psychic journey this week by every day asking yourself, what today do I feel guided to do? Break it into chunks. What this morning do I feel guided to do? All right, now at noon. What this afternoon do I feel guided to do? All right, now what this evening do I feel guided to do? Okay, before I go to bed tonight, what do I feel guided to do? Okay, and you do it, you just keep plugging in for guidance and trying to do that thing. If you do that, you can have an amazing adventure this week. Cancers is what I'm getting with it. This is like a powerful way to live, and there's something new being built. And he's feeling very happy and free and centered. He's balancing barefoot on a rock here. There's all these like rainbow psychedelic waves going on around him. He's just cool and chill. This is like finding your zen. It's almost like the Matrix move where you're finding your zen in the middle of all the storm, but you're feeling like, okay, this can be fun and empowering and creative. And like, it just feels like you're in a great place despite what else may be going on in the world around you. Like you're shifted something within and you're going, oh, okay, this feels a lot better. I'm glad I did that. That's what I'm feeling for the Cancers. All right, now we'll go to the Leos. Starting off with the recent past for the Leos. What did you just learn? What did you just see? What did you need to see that you missed? Got the Patience card. All right, now we're going to go to the right now, the bridge that's crossing. What's going on right now for the Leos? Leo risings, moons in Leo, stelliums in Leo. Be going with the flow card. All right, and then this week for the Leos. Ooh, we've got the Master card. All right. So recent past, the Patience card. Tired of waiting? Have you been waiting? There's something you're waiting on hold. Something took a long time to transpire. It's in the past. So maybe something has completed, but it took a long time. Or maybe you're still waiting and you're still thinking about how something, you're still processing something that's been taking a while. It's in the past. I kind of get the feeling like it's really over, but maybe it was traumatizing, or maybe it's just you're just not cleared the event or the energy. Yeah, so it feels like it's taking you a while to let go of something from your past as well. It also could be literally waiting. Patience card is like literally waiting, and this card is the 9-month pregnant person, so you're waiting for the baby to be born. This could be you if you're expecting a child or you're expecting a grandchild. You could be like literally waiting for a baby to be born. Could also be have happened recently for the Leos. It can be symbolically you've been waiting for the baby to be born as well. It can be literal, it can be symbolic, but it's definitely been like having to just realize that everything happens at its own timing, its own pace, and again just affirming divine right timing. Everything's in divine right timing. Like that's the best thing to do whenever you get caught up in fear or worry if something's going to happen in the right time or if it's not going to happen. It's like affirming divine right timing on all your activities. Divine right timing when it comes to my love life. Divine right timing when it comes to my career development and growth. Divine right timing when it comes to blah, 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 fill in the bank. Right now, speaking of now in time, is the going with the flow card. So this is like, you're like on the raft. You don't really know where you're going. You're just showing up one day at a time. With this Patience card in the recent past, like you could be feeling like I'm just on pilot code, like autopilot mode is what it feels like. You could be retirement, like, and you don't really have to do anything. You're just floating along and doing what you feel guided to do, reading a book, going to go hunt for antiques. I mean, like whatever it is, it feels like it's a daily flow. This is also about getting in water, literally. So some of you Leos maybe do cool your flame by getting into a pool, getting into a lake, into a creek, river, get into the shower, tub. There's a water element. Drinking more water feels like it's important to less. Like I'm seeing like some of you are drinking too much alcohol, you're drinking too many diet sodas or something. You need to drink a lot more, like just water, straight up, clean, filtered water. Maybe some sparkling water to spice it up occasionally, but the water, you're needing water. The Master card is you really being able to be your best self. Like you're an authority on something. Someone asks you for your advice this week. You get to be the good parent. You can get to be the good guru to someone. You're channeling advice to someone. The Master card here is someone who's in their power, feeling like, okay, I'm doing the best I can do right now. It really is the best. I'm like having gratitude for my life. I'm feeling empowered. I'm feeling clear and connected. I'm doing what I can do to take care of myself and to be there for others and to set boundaries for me. And like, this is all like a great space of feeling like, okay, I got this. All right. I just have to be my best me. I don't compare myself to anyone else. I don't worry about the timing of it. I just suit up and show up in the best way possible today. I plug in spiritually. I plug into my higher self. I bring the Master to work. I bring the Master to my breakfast. So it feels like it's a powerful week for the Leos. It feels like you're in your power and feeling good about yourself by the end of the week. All right, now we'll go to the Virgos. We'll start with your recent past, Virgos. Recent past for Virgos. Postponement card. All right? And then now, right now, what you need to know now, be here now. Bridge that's crossing now. For the Virgos. Courage card. And this week ahead for the Virgos. Laziness. All right. So we've got the postponement in the recent past. I talk about this is my card where it could be literal. You've been having to wait for something. It's not been the right time. You've had to hold, be delayed, like something's taking longer than usual. It could also be the card that represents depression, where you've been not quite your colorful self. You've been feeling gray, not quite in your rhythm, off in some way, or someone else around you has, and you're being empathic and you're soaking on their sort of depression and toxic energy, and you've just been feeling overwhelmed and sluggish. Or you're tapped into the Saturn square Mercury stuff, and because you're ruled by Mercury and you just felt like, I can't move through space. Like, that feels like that's the recent past for the Virgos. This is a good positive card here for the right now. This is the courage card. This is something new being bloomed, even out of a hard place. Like it's growing out of this rock, a crevice. So it's like blooming out of a difficult place, even though it could be dicey and not be your best scenario. Like you're blooming anyway. You're starting something. You're moving your life forward in a courageous way is what it feels like. It feels like you've done something that has required courage, and the fruit is coming around right now is what it feels like. And more courage is needed just to be yourself and not to compare yourself to whatever anyone else is doing, anybody else's climate. Like, are you blooming your best self? Are you bringing your best self to your world every day? Like, is this my best me today? Am I feeding me the best way I can feed me? Am I moving my body the best way I can move my body? Am I feeding my soul in the best way I can feed my soul? Like, what do I do to nourish my mind, my body, my spirit, all of that? What do I need to do to put genuine energy and action into these things? Because what I'm seeing is that you're not doing a lot of that. This laziness card this week is when you just like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. I mean, it can literally be when you're on vacation and it's time to just hook up with, a daiquiri or margarita on the side of a pool and just chill. This usually means when someone just like doesn't feel motivated to take action. They just don't feel clear and they feel kind of la 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 la. And it doesn't always mean lazy. Sometimes it means you just feel stuck, or you feel frozen, or you can't feel like you can get the movement going. So again, if something's overwhelming you enough to where you're shutting down, break it down. What's a little movement you can get going? Maybe you feels too overwhelming to sit and write on your, screenplay, but maybe you could write in your journal and that can get some chi flowing, right? Maybe you're too overwhelmed to get together and practice your instruments with someone else, but you can pull out your own saxophone and play, right? Like, it's like, what little baby step can you get the chi flowing with, and not try to do all of it right now. It's okay just to have a little bit of chi flowing, just to get some movement started so you can pick up steam. Because if you just do nothing, you're going to be imploding. This could be like too much energy too, like too much food, too much imbibing, too much spending, yeah, even too much sleep, not getting enough sleep. But like, I feels like both ends of the pendulum can be happening here, like feeling like I'm not getting enough sleep, or I feel like all I want to do is sleep. It feels like there's a sleep thing going on for some of you too. This too shall pass. It's just, and anything set in concrete is just based on what I'm seeing right now. Like, if you clean up your food and drink lots of water and like do some great exercise and meditation here for the next couple days, like you could totally shift this energy. This could not even happen because you shift it right now, right? But I get the energy is like, oh yeah, I felt the energy now, or you've had it over the weekend, and then it's like, oh, and you feel like you come under gravity's force and you just can't move. So ask your guides for help, ask to be guided, ask for support to come in, angels to come in to help move you along the road. That's what I'm getting for the Virgos. All right, let's go to the Libras. Your recent past. What do you need to know? What did you see? What did you miss? What did you get? Recent past energy. Creativity card in the recent past for the Libras. All right, let's do the be here now. What do you need to know for today card? Whoa, the silence card. And this week on tap for the Libras. The conditioning card. All right, so recent past, creativity card. So this is getting creative ideas, inspired downloads, things to put your energy into. Maybe you have been doing creative project. Maybe there is some chi flowing. I feel like there's a whole lot more where that came from. Like it does feel like there's been being creative and having a flow going, and it's been really lovely. And this is a lot of Libras are artists anyway. And so this is like the artist, like really feeling like, oh, I'm like, my energy's unstuck. It's flowing. I've got that creative new idea. I wrote that new song. I'm like, I painted that whatever, and I cooked up this whole cool new meal or whatever it is. There's a cool, beautiful creativity flow that's been happening recently. Like some great stuff has been coming through. Great ideas. I would say if you haven't followed through on these creative ideas you've gotten, put them into action this week. Like if they've come through for a reason. The silence card is representing now. So this would come up as an affirmation for those of you who have put a priority onto meditating, doing breath work, getting quiet in your mind and emotional body so that you can just tap into divine energy. So if you've been doing that, amen. If you haven't been doing it, this is a wake up. Do it now. It's imperative. It is so important to connect with your higher self. Get out of 3D reality. Connect with your higher vibrational self. Connect with your spirit guides, your angels, the committee, the choir on the other side. This 3D reality is getting more and more intensive. So this is so important to develop your psychic abilities, develop your intuition. So if you're doing that, affirmation, brava, congratulations. If you're not doing it, get on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. It's time. No more procrastinating. Get that done. You can do that when you're laying down to go to bed if you have to. Okay, so this card, the conditioning card, tells the story of this lion that gets lost as a cub and falls in with a pack of sheep. So his whole life, he's around sheep. What's he doing? What are the sheep doing? They're eating and they're sleeping and they're sitting. And he's like restless and wants to go play or explore something. The sheep are all just happy to like all cuddle all together and do whatever the sheep are doing. He's like miserable. The lion is miserable, does not understand why. Until one day another lion spots him and goes, dude, come here with me. He takes him down to the nearby water source. He sees his reflection and he is like, oh, I'm a lion. Oh, okay. No wonder. So this card shows up when you realize someone that's not your tribe, a situation that's not a relationship with someone that's not of your tribe, work situation, school, family situation, like wherever, like you're like, this is not my people. This is not where I want to be living. This is not whatever it is. It's just a realization that there's a calling. You may want to shift something immediately. You may be shifting it this week. You may be going, I'm out of here. I've had the realization, I'm gone. Drop the mic, out of here. It could also just be the universe showing you where there's some toxic energy or some energy that's not reflective, that's affecting you and you're not noticing it. And maybe this week you will begin to notice, oh, I need to really put up my protective shields around. I need to make sure that I'm putting a piece of kyanite in my pocket when I go out in the world. I need to, you know what I mean? Like there's information about how do you protect yourself from the energies that are toxic around you, or how do you just find your people and your tribe where you're going to be resonating. So there's some information about stepping away from stuff that's not serving you and people and situations that aren't serving you so that you could be open for new situations where someone is. So I kind of feel like there's some inner mulling on that. Like it feels like it's more of an internal chewing on stuff this week, Libras. A lot of creative energy. Maybe you're chewing on it while you're doing something creative. To me, that would be the best use of this energies. But also just a heads up, if you're wondering, is he right for me? Is she right for me? No, would be the answer. and that you'll realize that this week. Or yes, it's a lion. It's another lion that's just passed by. It's not these sheep that I've been hanging out with. Okay, we'll go to the Scorpios. What is the recent past for the Scorpios? What do they need to see, hear, know? What did they miss? What did they get? What's been going on? What's going on? What's going on? The going with the flow card's been going on for the Scorpios in the recent past. That's now in time for the Scorpios. What do we need to know right now? What's happening right now? Be here now. Bridge that's crossing now. Ordinariness card. And then we'll go to this week. What's happening this week with Scorpios? What do you guys need to know, see, hear, realize? Gratitude for the aloneness card. All right. Going with the flow, recent past. It just means that there hasn't been quite a plan. You've had to just like be open to how the weather, the winds are blowing or the waters are flowing or something, that you're just having to like, not letting the universe kind of dictate, which can be a really lovely ride actually, when you just like, okay, I'm going to let this person connect me with this person. It's going to lead me down that. And there's like all these connect the dot moments, almost like dominoes is what it feels like. The things have been flowing. You've been like being led and guided, and there's like, it's a lovely flow. So it feels like it's been really cool. To me, this is you listening to intuition for it to have a nice groove. It means you're listening to your intuition, you're tapping to higher self so that you can enjoy what's been going on. It feels like there may have been a journey, maybe even a literal journey. Maybe you've done some traveling and it just feels like, new places, new things. It's all cool. This is representing you right now, the ordinariness card. This is like a good day. This is like, okay, I'm going to be outside in the beautiful elements. So the sun is shining and the grass is green, the flowers are blooming. And I'm just enjoying my everyday life. I'm like chopping wood, carrying water. I'm like enjoying what I do with my life. I'm enjoying my life, even if my day looks different one day from the next. It's good. Like it's feeling like you're in pretty good health, that there's some movement happening, some projects going, creative projects I feel like are happening. Things are blossoming and blooming in your life. Feels good. Feels like, and it's movement towards getting better. This week is the aloneness card. So this is the Hermit in the original tarot deck. This is the spiritual seeker, which you always have to do alone. Even if you sit down in a church filled with people, or you're in a tribal drum circle with a group of people, or you're in a yoga class with other people, you're going to be having your own direct connection to the divine, even if you're surrounded by people. This is often about wanting to get away from people so that you can get clear about what your connection is. So you may be kind of people avoidant this week, or wanting to get with just the people that bring you extra insights or make you feel more spiritually connected. The spiritual seekers in your life, maybe just needing some time away to just like dive into a spiritual uplifting book, or to do times in spiritual practice, or to meditate, work in the garden, take a walk in the woods, like just cultivating this sort of quiet spiritual connection. I feel like you're looking for direction, and you'll get it if you're tapping in spiritually. Like you'll just feel guided, and you just keep doing this flow, and you're like, you're onto something is what it feels like. This cool life that's been unfolding, keep doing that. And there's realizations to come for sure, like things that you need to see that have been kind of shrouded in darkness and haven't been able to see within yourself, or something that you're still harboring emotionally that hasn't completely cleared yet. I feel like there's a lot of light around it. Like you've done a lot of work. It's what it feels like, or whatever this is. It feels like it hasn't completely healed. Maybe it's a resentful or angry heart that hasn't completely healed, or you felt betrayed, or you've had great loss, or you've just had great suffering. You had PTSD. There's something you've gone through that you're not completely over, is what it feels like. And it's like sometimes you just need to dive into whatever feels good in that moment that's going to heal your soul, whether that's like getting body work or healing, or listening to some Gregorian chants, or Tibetan monks, or whatever, like a mountain stream. Like, what are you feeling called to do to nurture your spirit this week, and do that thing? And I feel like you need to sort of reconnect with you. Like, it's okay that you're not feeling social, or that you cut social activities short, or make sure you're interspersing time alone between social, so that you feel grounded and connected. All right, Sagittariuses, you're next. Let's see what the recent past is for the Sagittarius. Recent past, Sagittarius, letting go. Right here now, be here now. What's up, Doc? For the Sagittarius right now. The laziness god. And this week ahead. Okay, we got the guilt card coming up. Kind of intensive right now. All right, recent past, letting go. So this could literally be a loss, someone or something you've had to let go of, a job, a person in your life, a friend that no longer serves you. This could also be habits and behaviors and traits within yourself that you've had to let go of. But there's definitely been a release that's been important. Feels like you've done a clearing. People have crossed over, moved on in their lives. There's been things taken away from you. So it feels like there's like a flow. What's happening? Why is everything being removed from my life? You may have had some loss financially even, like, or you feel like you're worried about flow and having enough in the recent past. Then there's the laziness card right now. This is like feeling completely unmotivated, don't have the energy to do it. Maybe you're just taking the time off right now to just chill. Or maybe you just can't muster up the motivation or something, because this could be stuck energy where you just feel stuck. It's not that you're lazy, you just can't get moving, literally. And then some of it is procrastination. Like, I know, I should do this thing. I should get this. I should at least put that first step out, or I could, but you're not wanting to do it yet. You're like, I know. I said I'd do that. I haven't done it. Just sitting on it. So. And Sagittarius can come up with the greatest excuses in the world. Let me just say, be honest with yourself. Like, you don't have to lie to me or anybody else, but like, be honest with yourself. What are you afraid of? Like, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid to get moving? What are you afraid to put into motion? What are you afraid to experience? Because it feels like there's a fear that's keeping you paralyzed or frozen. Near future is the guilt card. Now, it can mean that you're doing something this week that you wish you could take back, or you're thinking about something that you've already done that, like, oh my God, remorse, regret. I could, really, if you're doing that in a healthy way where you're not beating yourself up, but you are acknowledging something you've done to hurt someone else, this can be particularly powerful and healing to be able to say, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize when I said that you, or whatever, like, I felt this way. I didn't realize that you felt this way, whatever it is. Like, more often than it being guilt, the true emotional guilt is the pulling the hair out energy, like spending too much time overthinking, trying, like, lots of chatter, mental chatter, and like, are trying to make a decision or trying to go over something that you can't change from the past, or worrying about something in the future. So this is near future this week. It doesn't have to be Sagittarius. When I pull a card for the future, there's nothing set in the concrete for the future. This is saying you're kind of got a groove towards getting all up in your head. Part of this is because your chi is blocked and it's backing up in that way. So antidote, get physically moving some way, move some chi, do a walk, do a swim, do some dancing, move things around in your home, do some yard work, do some gardening, do some where you're physically moving your body. That can really help the mental, emotionally, and maybe discharge it so that you have more positive thoughts. I've just drawn this Tower card, the Thunderbolt card. So I feel like this could be a transformation, like lightning. Aha, you can really realize some like gunk in your own pattern that you can go, oh, I don't want to do this, shift it and really clear it and have a completely different experience of like grounding this backed up frenetic energy. And because some of this, the guilt card may just be soaking up stuff from other people. So also, if that's you, these Sagittarius this week, like you're picking up on, maybe you're getting a distress, you're picking up on someone else's distress. It's not even yours at all. You're picking up somebody else is feeling guilty, or someone else is feeling stressed, or someone else is mulling over decisions in their mind. It could be affecting you in your environment. Close, it would be close environment though, because it feels like it's right there in your face kind of thing. If it's not you, it's someone right there. So then you can offer prayer to this person, right? Prayer to yourself if it's you struggling with it. Like, bring me everything I need in this situation. Let's clear out all the fear, all the toxic energy, the debris. Let's bring in divine peace and clarity and safety and security. Let's breathe out insecurity and all that. Like, clear out the negative, bring in the positive, really do some of this work. And I feel like you can really transform, which could end up being like an anxiety attack this week, or just like a freak out. So you got a potential for that kind of energy this week. But if you are doing self-care and you're paying attention, you can avoid that. But just if you end up having a panic attack this week, you let things build up. Basically what's happening. More time spent in breath work and prayer, and less time spent in frenetic energy and worrying about the world and other people. All right, that's all for the Sagittarius. Capricorns, recent past for the Capricorns. Let's see what's going on, what you need to know, what you need to see, what you needed to see that you missed. Recent past for Cappies. The receptivity card right now for the Capricorns. What you need to know right now. What's up? What is the bridge you're crossing right now in Capricorn world? Goat crossing over the bridge. The fighting card. All right. And then this week ahead for the Capricorns. Suppression card. All right, this feels kind of intensive. Recent past, being open and receptive to spiritual and psychic things. So you've been open to insights, directions from your own higher self, from guides. You've been loving the concept of meditation or connecting to a divine source with yourself. You've done some growth and work, like you're on the path. That's what it feels like. And you're like recently received some sort of messages or signals, dreams, something recently came in. You received some sort of message recently. Received a call or a text from an old friend, or there's something that's been downloaded recently. Right now is the fighting card. So this can be you're completely pissed off and angry at someone or something in your life. You could be wrestling with something internally where you're resentful or angry even at yourself or what you've done. You could be angry at the government or politics or a disease even, or whatever's in the world that's riling you up and feels unfair, unjust, not okay. You're wanting to armor up and protect yourself and others, but there's this fighting energy going on. It could literally be being in a verbal warfare with someone, screaming at someone, having verbal conflicts, verbal arguments. It could be through text or email exchanges or social media bombings or whatever, but it feels like there's a war going on in your world and then reflected in your life somehow. Reconciling the war within will help calm everything else down, but it feels like you're headed into like taking it, not being able to let go of anger at someone else, or just getting used to being angry. It feels like there's like an addiction to anger. Like you used to screaming, so you just scream. You don't even realize how that's affecting other people, or you just bring in this bristly energy that people react to. You may not say a word, you may just come in charged and people go, but you're hurting yourself is what I got. There's something within. This could also be someone in your environment and you're picking it up empathically, and so you're toxically picking up on this energy. I feel like it's you, and it's you in denial. Like it's parts of yourself that you're denying or have pushed away, and it's showing up to be resentful. The suppression card actually can be good if it's triggering the release of energies you've suppressed. This is like depression, this is negative feelings, this is like PTSD, and then like trying to put the lid on it. This is like, I can't do this anymore. Like whether it's suppressed grief or suppressed any toxic emotion can really, and that to me is connected hand in hand with this anger and this resentment and this rage that's being triggered right now. It's like there's some old hurt that's underneath the rage. And if you just stay focused on what pisses you off and what makes you mad and feeling righteous and about your anger, like I have the right to be this way, and you may very well have the right to feel angry. You may have really lived through something unjust, but you're making it harder on yourself. There may be internal complications. There may be like dis-ease in your physical body because you are all ratcheted up internally. You're tweaking out. I'm seeing like intestines twisting, or like or it feels like that. It feels like someone's got a vice grip on your stomach or intestinal tract. Someone's like just being eaten up with toxic emotions, where you're taking on someone else's grief or feeling bad and something you haven't done correctly. And like there's just a beating yourself up energy. Stop it. Stop it now. Like this feels like this energy can come to a head. It's kind of like the Mars conjunct Chiron energy, so that you can see a gnarly negative pattern and shift it. Like that's the benefit with something this. If you can see what you're doing to yourself and then begin to ask for help. I need help. Some of you may need to get with a therapist, some group therapy, private therapy, partner therapy, physical therapy, emotional, mental, spiritual therapy. Like you may really need some help from someone else to get out of this gnarly mess. Like you may not be able to untangle it with yourself. You may have to bounce off a friend, talk it through, like I said, with a therapist, get into some sort of new healing modality, pick up the stones and crystals so you can help shift the energy. There needs to be an energy clearing and shifting big time for you guys this week, Capricorn. So be open and receptive like you've been before to having this stuff move on. Don't be addicted to these toxic feelings in the way a pattern. It feels like there's a karmic pattern that's repeated itself over and over and over again in relationships in your life. And what is the connective tissue issue? The connective tissue, the issue is you. It's what you're doing to manifest the same thing, manifesting in your life again and again and again. You're angry at other people, you're causing it somehow. And there's a realization that can happen this week about how you're causing your own suffering. And you can have an aha realization. You can shift a pattern for all time. We'll let it go with the full moon this week. So no Capricorns. All right, now we move on to the Aquarians. Let's see what the recent past is for the Aquarians. What you need to know for the recent past. What happened? Who said it? Who did it? What'd you learn? What'd you miss? Ordinariness card. Right now in time for the Aquarians. What do you need to know about right now? Faithfulness card. And then this week for the Aquarians, what's happening, what you need to know, what you need to see about this week up ahead. The outsider. All right. Recent past being the ordinariness card. Things are good. Things have been good. Like you have the food you need to eat. You have a place to live. You have work to do. You may not have as much as you'd like. It feels like you've been having a lot of off time, spending time doing, what you'd like to do. Gardening, maybe being outside. There's a strong emphasis with this person outside. And so enjoying nature, enjoying events that are outside, even like really just feeling like you're in harmony with your world or where you live, and exploring maybe the world you live in new ways, even places in your own town you haven't been to before. I'm feeling that could happen. Just having ordinary cool things popping up out of nowhere in your life. So it feels like it's little bitty things you can be grateful for almost every day. There's just some lovely little things happening is what it feels like. Recent past. The playfulness card is about bringing the joy, like finally being able to laugh about stuff, like getting your humor back, being lighthearted. It also can be fake for some of you. This clown's got makeup on, so it can be people who are pretending to be enjoying themselves. So if you're an Aquarian who's pretending to enjoy yourself and you're not really enjoying yourself, you're performing performance. You're performing, I'm great, but you're really not. Then level with yourself, be honest with yourself. What really is bringing you joy? What's in the way of your joy? Is it a negative attitude? Is there a shift that you need to make in your life to move yourself in a place where you don't have to fake it, right? But this can often mean like inner child doing something that just brings you fun and makes you laugh and makes you enjoy things. enjoy the world and just feeling like maybe you've been dancing, you've been laughing more, maybe someone just really lifted your spirits, but or maybe you're lifting other people's spirits. It just feels like there's mostly positive juju with this card. Okay, this week is my outsider card. At first glance, this card looks like I can't. Little kid is at the gate looking through. He sees where he wants to be, but he can't get there. Because why? Because the gate's locked. Is it really? You look a little bit closer, you see that lock is not even fastened. It's just hanging there. So this card represents where we tell ourselves, I can't. For whatever reason, you're afraid to, you don't believe it, blah, 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 blah. And it says to you, well, what is your vision? What step can you take right now towards that vision? Oh, okay. First step would be take the lock off. And then you take the chain and unwrap it. And then you open the gate. And then you actually walk through it. In which case you're like the little kid walking into the rainbow, the adventure card. So there is the potential for you to initiate a new adventure this week. Instead of being stuck like, I'm afraid to get moving. I'm afraid of my failure. I'm afraid of my success. Like, what's the block? Usually when you tell yourself you can't, sometimes it's just because you've never been told you can. There's a low self-esteem, I don't deserve it kind of thing that's in the mix. And whether it's conscious or not, it can block you. They can also just be like, you're afraid you don't deserve it. Like, I want a relationship, but I just can't manifest one. Or like, I want a great job, I just can't make it happen. If you're generating those kind of thoughts, you're making exactly what you don't want happen by putting the can't in here. So this is an opportunity to see in your life where you're telling yourself, I can't, and change that narrative, right? So there's an opportunity this week of being able to recognize where you're blocking yourself because you're just telling yourself you can't, and that's not the truth. So there's an opportunity to shift this, to open the gates and walk through into something new this week for the Aquarians. And if you're saying this week, I just can't, it's going to be like magnified and in your face. You'll go, oh, I heard myself say that. And now we go to the Pisces, and we'll go recent past for the Pisces. What's just happened? What do you need to know? What did you miss? What did you see? Clinging to the past card. But right now, for the Pisces, be here now. Get down on it. Bridge that's crossing. What you need to know about this present moment. The rebirth card. And then this upcoming week. You need to know, see about this upcoming week. The receptivity card. Okay. Recent past is the clinging to the past card. This is when you make yourself cray-cray by replaying something over and over and over again in your head or in your experience, repeating a past cycle over and over again, repeating a negative habit, repeating a behavior pattern that just like stuck in the past. The fact that this is in the past tells me you've made a realization around something in the past. You've made a realization about you getting stuck with your thoughts in the past and needing to shift that. So it's in the past, it's not in the current. Right now, whatever is troubling you, it's over. Like whatever you're chewing on over and over and over again, you can't change it, or whatever you have been. And some of you have already had this realization, and that's why it's sitting in the past. I realized I couldn't change them, and so I left. I realized I was telling myself some really stinking thinking. So I really have gotten vigilant on doing affirmations in the mirror or whatever. Like there's been some work from some of you, and other people are just feeling stuck in it, depending on who you are. The rebirth card, however, is the bridge that's crossing right now. This is the camel that's the beast of burden that is just moving slow and can't get up space. Then doesn't even really want to be walking, wants to be laying down instead. Out of the camel comes the lion. Sometimes it takes rage to get us motivated, get us into action. Something's moved you into action. And then from that rage and anger can't be cultivated long-term. It can be used as motivation, but it needs to be tempered and turned into this beautiful spiritual innocence of a child, right? So there's this is the whole process that you're in the middle of right now. And there would be evidence probably of all three phases right now in your life. The part of yourself that feels stuck and can't get moving, part of yourself that is in motion, has shifted something, is requiring courage to approach something. And another part of yourself that really, maybe it's your dream connection, maybe it's children in your life that are bringing out the best in you. It's maybe you're tapping into a childhood dream or activity that you're enjoying, but it's like pleasing your inner child. It's like making your inner child happy. Your inner divine baby inside is like, we're super happy. There's something about a rebirth, like creating a new narrative, like whatever the story of that you were birthed and born into, and whatever the story drama has been, this is a new whole story starting up. So what is this new story happening? What is the new tale to be told of this new story, this new chapter opening up? And the receptivity card is being open for downloads. This is like incoming signals coming from everywhere. If you're open and you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you're going to be guided in your dreams, in stuff that people say to you, in stuff you just happen across on the internet or on your phone. It just feels like incoming signals, information, downloads. Your guides are like singing in full choir around you so that you'll hear the news and get it, receive it. There are direct downloads for your life. Like if you need clarity and direction, just be open, specifically ask for that and receive the direct information this week, Pisces, because it feels like clear direction can come through this week. You may be shifting out of your mode, what you're usually in. With this rebirth card, it could be like moving from one place to another, it can be on a trip, or symbolic or literal, where you're like, oh, okay, every day is kind of different, not real sure. So and it's almost like this flame energy I'm seeing, being like, you may literally be sitting around a campfire burning candles or something, because there's like the alchemical transformation energy feels like it's going on for your life. So just be open for what might come in to help support you on that journey, to help bring in gifts and rewards, and just peace and serenity and comfort and safety. That's what I'm feeling like, just tapping into those feelings this week, Pisces. So, all right, that's what I have for all 12 signs. For those of you who have watched this whole thing, thank you very much for your long attention. Please subscribe, like, share, all those things. Donate if you'd like. Greatly appreciate all of that. If you want to contact me for a private session, do so. I'd love to work with you in whatever way you are interested. Peace.